Hi, my name is Biesinger. I'm in the class of 2013 here at the OVC. I did my undergrad back in Buffalo, New York at Medaille College, and my degree was an associate's and a bachelor's in veterinary technology, as well as a 4-year degree in pre-vet. So for a long time I've realized I've wanted to be a veterinarian. I've had a lot of interest in the career. And I went to undergrad at Medaille and I got my pre-vet degree, and while I was there I did some research on different schools and different programs, and I knew that I really wanted to be somewhat close to my family and my home, which is in Buffalo, New York. And University of Guelph was actually the closest vet school to Buffalo. There were other schools in New York, but they were, oddly enough, they were farther away. And so I didn't apply to a lot of schools because I knew I wanted to stay close to my house, and I only applied to schools that I was really interested in, and OVC was one of those schools. My experience at OVC has been really, really good. When I initially thought about vet school, I have had preconceived notions that it would be an extremely competitive program. People would be in the library all day doing nothing but studying, you know, that I really wouldn't have a lot of fun, that I wouldn't really enjoy myself that much. However, while I was at the OVC, there's a lot of opportunity to build friendships, as well as, friendships with professors as well as students. So a lot of my time at the OVC is spent studying with friends, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable. There's also a lot of different activities to do in the community, as well as clubs and organizations at the school that you can become a part of. So I think it's a very positive experience in my life right now. I'd say my worst experience was probably my living situation in first year. It wasn't really that bad, but I had lived at home in undergrad, and it was my first time living away from home. And unfortunately, I didn't really spend enough time researching places to live and coming up and meeting roommates and seeing different areas and doing my research. So that's probably my fault, primarily my fault. So my worst experience would probably be my living situation. I wasn't really in a very good location, and my roommates were good, but it wasn't exactly what I was hoping to be ideal. So it wasn't really that bad, but I'd say if I had to make an experience, my worst experience, it would probably be that one. I was really surprised by how friendly everyone was, including the faculty and professors and all the advisors. Like I said before, I was under the impression that it would be highly competitive, a very serious environment, not a lot of fun going on, not a lot of activities other than schoolwork and studying. However, to my surprise, I spend a lot of time studying, you know, that's very important. However, it's very important to have a work-life balance, and there's a lot of activities and things to do in the community. Also, Toronto is very close. I've been there a couple of times. It's only about a 45-minute drive. So, you know, for a weekend, take some friends and, you know, go see a concert or something like that. So it's been a lot more positive and a lot more enjoyable than I initially had expected it to be. My career goals, ultimately, I had always been interested in working in a small animal practice and possibly owning my practice. I think that's mainly because in my experience in undergrad, I spent a lot of time in clinics. I had worked at a clinic as well, and not really a whole lot of time spent with large animals like cows and horses and goats and sheep. However, the more experience I get in the program, I tend to find myself a little more interested in the other species and kind of opening up my views of the veterinary profession as a whole. And I still do have small animal as my primary interest. However, who knows where I'll be in 2 years from now. So overall, my experience has been a very positive one. Canada isn't a lot different from the States. Being international, I was a little worried about different protocols, different just methods of lifestyles and things along that line. However, you know, I mean, the recycling is a little different, but that doesn't really change my lifestyle very much. It's very similar to the States, and I'm very comfortable here, and Canadians are extremely welcoming, and I find them a very positive and happy people. So